Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk. I got an idea, Chris. I got something I want to bounce off you. Something brand new you've never heard before.
Hit me with the idea.
I want to switch up our sort of intro process. I think we lost a great dude, Mr. Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy. Yeah, K-Con, our boy. No, seriously, I just feel like we owe it to him to open an episode of our very small podcast in his name. We already decided that the thumbnail was going to be of him. We very rarely do that. Decide thumbnail ahead of time, but we did, as an ode to him, decide on that. So I figure the picture's right there. People should be able to click on it and just hear our thoughts. By our thoughts, I mean primarily your thoughts, because I don't have nearly the relationship that you had with him. You just want to see me cry.
Yeah.
So we started recording. Derek noticed some crackling on his side from my mic, which I think he's still hearing, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
The recording sounded okay, but we stopped and started it. So all of that was, we just basically redid it.
Yeah, it was
welcome.
Pretty good on my end. I'm just going to say I think I did a pretty good pretty good job.
It was really good. Yeah. I was the ham about it. I fucked it up. Welcome to episode 86 of The Cynical Nerd.
Welcome.
Don't know what the title's going to be yet. It'll be something ridiculous. It always is, as is tradition, but yeah, so Kevin Conroy passed away, and we have this weird tradition, and I think I'm about to catch up to where I stopped on our podcast of always dumping sad boy news out on Front Street. Oh, what a callback that was. Callback to a callback. And so he passed away a couple of days ago, and the entire internet who is familiar with him was very sad, including myself. So if you've been living under a rock, if you're listening to our podcast, you probably know who he is. He was the voice of Batman in the animated series for a very long time. He did The New Adventures of Batman and Robin afterwards. He did Justice League. He did countless animated films, somewhere between 14 and 16. Of course, he did the Arkham games, which I know that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
He was the voice of Batman to a lot of people. I know Kevin Smith is known for crying a lot. We share that in common. But he said, when I read Batman in a comic, I heard Kevin's voice. And that's true for a lot of people. And it actually affected me quite a bit more than I expected. I've been doing nothing but sharing sad memes with Derek ever since it happened. Those artist tributes that people rush cynically, in my mind. I'm like, they're like, oh, someone died. Let me rush to get my art noticed.
Yeah, I need the likes.
Yeah, I all of the likes. I don't know. It's a weird Al cover. So I'm one of those normal people who watched all those things growing up, and when I hear Batman, whether it's in a movie or a TV show or animated film, I compare every voice unconsciously to Kevin Conroy's version of Batman. It is by and large the definitive version for me. And I think he's got such a commanding, deep presence, and he can also do all these nice soft ranges. And not to do the whole character bio, but he was trained and went to school at Juilliard, and he had a really cool couple podcasts. One of them was with Kevin's Fatman on Batman podcast. Thanks for the co-sponsor this week, Kevin.
Thanks, Kev.
Where he went through his backstory, and I heard a lot of cool shit about him. So I have like an extra layer of attachment, and this was before I knew that he was a gay man and came out as an openly gay man working in comic books, and the voice of fucking Batman, no less. He roomed with Robin Williams at Juilliard. Which is like one of those cool little fun facts. He has a stories he's told. If you look him up, you can find him telling stories about Robin Williams. And he was a Broadway actor, and he did plays. And then he was brought in to do a casting call. And the story goes that he started the lines, and he always thought that, like, you know, Batman was supposed to be this tortured soul, so he played him, and he said he tried to make his voice sounds like the streets of New York. And he said that everyone kind of froze in the sound booth and didn't say anything. And he thought, oh, God, I've messed this up. And the casting director came in and said, that's it. Like, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, you're Batman. Like, they told him almost immediately on the spot. I'm saying all this because it's keeping me away from just, sobbing about his passing. I met him once. It was stupid. It was at Comic-Con. You know, I paid to get him to sign something, and I bought a pop, and of course I had it ready to show everybody. It's one of the animated series episodes, and it just says to Chris, but he was so nice to everybody in line. I know a lot of those celebrities, they go there just to make some easy money and sign some autographs, but they don't want to be there, and it's tedious, and I can't blame them because I don't think I'd want to sit in one spot and have to be nice and take pictures with 400 people in a day. And it was a Sunday. It was like the last day of the con. And me and my buddy went to New York on a whim on a train to check everything out. And he was just he took his time with everybody, and he was nice and polite. And it's rare. I think he was in that cool slice of stardom where he wasn't like mega famous to where if he walked down the street, he was going to get mobbed, and he affected enough people's lives through what he did. That like it's a special thing for him to be able to connect with people.
I feel like that's like a rare thing with voice actors where they have this, like, obviously they've, some of them really like explode into superstardom just through their VA work, like Kevin Conroy. But it's like, you're not, like you said, like you recognize the voice more than you recognize the person. So it's not like you're being like stopped or mobbed everywhere you go. And I feel like that like keeps them humble. They're like the coolest celebrities. They're like, I don't know. They're not like Brad Pitt, right? Like there's not like tens of thousands of people lining up to see them. But
yeah,
I actually, in all seriousness, I'm not saying this in a funny way. When I was a kid, I kind of thought like at a lot of different points that I was sort of too cool or too old for like certain cartoons. And like, I look back and I hate that I missed out on a lot of stuff. So I feel like I missed out on the Batman animated series. I hear the way people talk about it and about his performance in it and how high of a regard that they hold it. And like I said, the only thing I really have an attachment to him through is the Arkham games, which of course he did excellently in. But I can relate to, there was a point where I think in my early 20s where I was really cynical. And like when a celebrity would die and people would get mad, I'd be like, or people would get upset that they died. I'd be like, oh, well, you didn't know them. Like, what's there to be sad about? And then, ironically enough, the one you brought up, the first person who really meant something to me for my whole life, Robin Williams, died. And I was legitimately like not saying it for hyperbole. Like I was depressed for weeks. Like it really bums me out. And when I think about him still, I feel like it's almost like an old friend I lost or something.
Yeah.
So I think that there really is like something, it's just crazy how someone you did meet him, but I mean, you understand what I mean? Someone you've never met,
right?
Someone you don't know intimately,
him. Right?
Can just like, when they go, it just fucking bums you out. He had what kind of cancer? He had some kind of cancer.
I don't know. Yeah. They didn't say, it just said that he lost a short fight with cancer. So I'm assuming he, went in and got a checkup and got told something was like stage 4,
Yeah.
And
so this wasn't like a known thing before he went.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Or not that was made public.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying to cut back on ums, and every time I hear one, it makes me cringe when I say it. It's like my brain's segue, but I am working on it. I want to be better for you. I'm really trying not to, because I don't think it's cool to like try and be emotional about it. So like, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to push it out.
Yeah.
But I keep feeling it creep up to the top of my throat when I'm thinking of something I want to say. And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say that part so I don't cry. He's just, I was a huge Spider-Man fan when I was younger. And I think I've told this before, but like, maybe I have. I was a big Spider-Man fan when I was younger. And then I probably like 12, 13, I don't know, right when all those hormones hit our young bodies. Right when I cummed in the shower for the first time. There you go. I broke the mood. I found it.
It's a comedy podcast again.
Yeah.
We're here, folks.
Shout out to my that was gonna sound weird, never mind. I was gonna
Shout
say
out to
shout
my
out
preteen balls.
No, I was gonna say it was gonna be even worse. I was gonna say shout out to my sister, and
Wait, what?
because I never told her, but she called me out and she was 100% right. That's just a complete derail, and I promise I'll go right back to you, Kevin Conroy, and I'm trying not to.
We just have a jerk-off story we got to get out of the way real quick.
I'm not trying to insult your memory, but I just got, much like my first ejaculations into this world, I have to get my story out. Just pop the lid. When it first happened, I don't know what causes it to happen. Little boys just play with their shit all the time. I don't. And I was in the shower and I felt some tingles in my jingles and I went, oh, and then I completed the ritual and I realized when I was younger that the easiest way to do this was to just be in the shower. Easy cleanup.
Right.
No one can barge in on me because I'm in the shower with the door locked. I was also a 12-year-old teenager who didn't shower every day. I would put it off. So I started taking a shower like every day so I could go fucking jerk it. And one night my mom, who's innocent and still to this day, I would be like, no, he wasn't. Said something along the lines of, I was taking a shower and dinner was ready and I came down after I got out of the shower, aka busted fat loads.
Right.
And my mom was like, oh, you've been showering a lot more lately. Like she was saying it like I'm proud of you. Cause she had at the time had probably been scolding me for being a fucking dirtball, which I'm sure we'll have to yell at Grayson for someday. And my sister was like, yeah, he's probably jerking off. And
your face went beet red like a fucking cherry tomato.
I never got walked in on or caught or anything like that. I got away from that trauma, but I'll never forget that. Cause in my head I was like, I'm trapped. She caught me. And so, Brooke, if you ever listen to this, you were fucking right. I was jerking it.
You know what's crazy is I was always so worried. Like, it would be weird. Like, it would be awkward. But, like, what would they do? What would they punish you? That would be weird to punish you for jerking off. What do you do if you catch a kid? You just go, whoa, and you walk out, and then you both remember it forever. I
never thought about that. They're going to punish you?
It's not illegal what I'm doing.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the dead guy.
Anyway, Kevin, sorry. We got it out.
How did I even get off on this? Oh, right. Okay. So
I in the shower, as you just said.
Well, I said, very funny. My joke was going to be, I was just talking about Spider-Man, so I was throwing ropes. It all comes back to come on this podcast. So I was a big Spider-Man fan when I was younger, and right around the time when I hit puberty, 12, 13, I started to get into Batman more and more, and I part of it was the tragedy and the pathos of that character, and it was hard for me to, obviously to some degree, I lost my father very young. He lost his parents when he was young. I'm sure in my 12-year-old head, I thought I'm basically Batman. 50% anyway. I still had a mom,
right?
And I at the age, just something about it was the right time to just sort of like glomp onto that character and really dive in. And I was watching the animated series, and 13, 14 was probably around the time that I saw, or read, I should say, The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller, which is just a seminal book about the dark. I was too young to read it. I should not have read it at 13, 14. There's some more adult stuff in there and some violence. And the whole point of the story is to say that I watched the animated series first. And here's the emotions. I could feel them in my throat. No matter what I ended up doing after that, it was always his voice. In whether it was The Dark Knight Returns or the silly, Batmite characters on some Saturday morning cartoon where it's like super stupid shit. And there are some extremely touching moments and scenes in his voice acting career, where there's a really famous Justice League character where there's the House of Cards gang or some stupid motif like that. And there's a little girl on a swing. Have you seen that before? And he is like, I forget exactly what happens, but she's going to die. And he, I feel it. It goes to her and like comforts her in her last moments in only a way that someone with his backstory could comfort her. And it's, Kevin's voice is just so fucking, it just makes everything real to me, even though these are really fake comic book characters. And it's really appropriate, I guess, in a morbid kind of way, that I'm currently playing through Arkham Knight, which is the finale of the trilogy of his Arkham games. And it's obviously, I can't spoil anything, but it's got, it's got a good ending, which feels like it'll be a nice fitting goodbye to Kevin.
Yeah.
And it sucks that he's not here. And I'm just as sad with his passing as I was with like Robin Williams or like my grandma.
Yeah.
Sorry, grandma.
Yeah.
Voice
You're
actors,
equal to Kevin Conroy. Yeah.
Yeah. Voice actors on the same level. Even though he didn't give me sweet Christmas cards with 50s in it every year. And that's all. I'm done. Promise.
Yeah, no, it really, and like I said, I don't have this attachment to him, but it's crazy to see like the mass like mourning that's happening right now with fans. And I shared that one video to you, and even I'm not like I said, I never watched the show. I never.
Yeah.
But that one video I sent you where like the finale, his last line at the end, they're showing all of his lines through Batman throughout the video, but the last shot is of like himself, and he says, "Don't worry about me. People out there need you." And then it just cuts to black. I was like, oh my God, I was like sobbing. No, it really is a shame. He didn't die young. He was 66, but you certainly expect him to make another
old
10,
either.
15.
Yeah.
So it is a shame. And I actually, once I'm done God of War Ragnarok, I decided I'm going to play through Arkham Knight as like I don't know what you would call that, a tribute. That sounds weird, but you understand what I mean, as like an ode to him, I guess is the best way to put it.
Why don't you play through Arkham Knight while listening to Tribute from Tenacious D?
There you go. That's the play. Just put it on mute. Can't even hear his voice acting. It defeats the entire purpose of it.
Yeah. This is a tribute. Okay.
Can I, before we move on, can you just tell me, since I brought up God of War Ragnarok, like obviously not story beats, I think I'm ahead of you, but like what do you think so far? Like what's your feeling?
Okay, yeah. I was actually going to ask you, because it's a good segue, if you wanted to do that. Do that now. So the only things on this podcast, sorry, I have to get in funny mode. Not come Kevin Conroy mode. Yeah. The only thing we do seriously on this podcast to avoid spoilers is when we, in fact, ourselves don't want them. Anything else is fair game. Yeah. There's a spoiler warning in the beginning. Go fuck yourselves. You've already been warned. But for God of War Ragnarok, I don't want spoilers. Yeah. Now, I did hear something in a review. It was innocent enough, but it planted a seed of something that I know is going to happen in the game. Not like it wasn't like a story beat.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you because it would also do the same thing to your brain.
I also have a thing that I can't do. Maybe it's the same thing. Who knows?
It might be, but I can't tell you without. I don't want to know. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really couldn't because I wouldn't want to spoil it.
Appreciate that.
But I went, oh, so that's going to happen at some point. Like, I don't know who the character is that's involved with it or the extent. That's all I can say. Anyway, moving on. Non-spoiler thoughts. I think you are also ahead of me. I am in Svartalheim still. Oh, I'm in the mine searching for Tyr still.
Okay. Yeah. I'm a good leg ahead of you.
Oh, I found him. I'm sorry. Yeah. I found him and we're leaving, which is where I turned it off last night. And so look, I read a lot of reviews that are like, this game is great. The first one was great. This game is great. It doesn't really do much new. And that they use that as like a marker to sort of, I wouldn't say poo-poo it because no review I've seen is negative.
Yeah.
But they're all like, it's better, but not much. And that's like the consensus I keep reading. And I gotta say, I kind of agree with that. But again, I mean it in a positive way. So the best analogy I could put is to say that it's almost as if I went, oh, I beat God of War. And then someone goes, yeah, that game was great, right? And I go, yep. And they go, why don't you restart your console? And I go, what? And I go, yeah, there's more. And I go, huh? And I log back in and another story starts. And that's what Ragnarok feels like. It feels like I'm just continuing the first game. As far as, so far, I don't know if there will be additions to the game in the future, but it's the same weapons, albeit with a slightly modified combat tree, a couple of moves that weren't present in the first game. but I'm still going around. By the way, having an absolute blast. I missed just roaming and discovering puzzles and chests and shit like that, and side quests and you know, all that shit. It's incredibly fun. It's the reason I was up later than I should have been last night playing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it so far feels like God of War 1.5 in a way that in a way that I normally use that, which is, I mean it as an insult with like Overwatch. I could not mean it as more of a compliment here. I think so far, unless it changes my mind after I finish it, but I loved the first game, and so far the story is great for the second one, and I'm very interested to see how it all works out, and combat's still super fucking fun. So yeah.
I'm going to say even less, but I'm going to say this. I'm not that into it. Like I dislike that. I'm not trying to sound contrarian. I think like it's getting a lot of good reviews and it deserves them because it's undeniably an objectively well-made game. Like it's a beautifully made game. It looks good. It plays good. But there's just like, I think it's just the core identity of the game is something that I like. It's not you, babe. It's me is what I'm saying. I think that what I look for in a video game has changed, which is crazy because it like you said, the formula is largely the same as it was in the first one. And when that game came out, which I think was just like 4 or 5 years ago, I considered that like a perfect game. I thought it was so good. And now it just feels like there's so much. See, I don't want to say too much. Of course I wouldn't say anything story-wise, but I also don't want to solely like your expectation of what's to come. So I'll actually just leave it at that. But even like initially I was really into the just little minute conversations, and now I'm kind of like getting tired of them. And there's a lot of just like, you know what? I actually just want to leave it there because I don't want to poop on your experience.
That's okay.
So, but yeah, I'm surprised by I'll just leave it at that. I'm surprised that I'm really not into it. Like I played it. I'm I'm probably a third of the way through. I've like created time to play it by putting off homework all week last week, and then cramming it all in on Sunday. That was a fucking nightmare. Never again. It's a good game. I'm going to play it, of course. I'm going to get through it. I've already had shit spoiled for me, and I would like to experience the story myself. So it's not like I'm back burnering it, but it's I'm a little like not into it, and I hate that I'm not into it because I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll.
By the way, you know how you were bad last night? I'm gonna be bad tonight.
Oh, nice.
I just had a fucking shitty day. I just grabbed a six pack. Fuck it.
I don't think I could do midweek anymore. You know why? Because the same reason I'm sad that I had some last night is because I felt terrible this morning.
I'm gonna hate myself in the morning. I just accepted that. I was like, you know what? I'll borrow happiness from tomorrow tonight. That's what I'll do, and I'm okay with that.
It was great though. I was having some drinks, playing God of War, having a blasty blast, as the kids say. Watching a super sad war movie that just made me hate humanity for 2.5 hours. We'll talk about that later. All right, let's move on. I want to cram through this motherfucker. We got stuff to talk about.
Blast through him. We're gonna blast.
Blast. Kevin Conroy is dead. Moving on. This is kind of window dressing. It doesn't even matter. This article we put in here, the Mass Effect released a teaser on N7 Day. Happy N7 Day. Belated N7 Day. That contained a coded message, and they figured out what it was, and it was my girl, my boo, my honey bear, Liara. My one and only. Anyone who says that, looking at you, Ron, that she isn't the right choice for, romanticizing, you're wrong. How would you even kiss Garrus? Look at his face. He's got like.
Do you kiss the top lips or the bottom lips?
Yeah, my nose is like not running, but like kind of running. Anyway, whatever. But it was a coded message that said exactly, the council will be furious, although they should know by now not to underestimate human defiance. It always was their most blank trait. They couldn't figure out what that word was. I didn't see it. How did we miss this? Still no idea if Shepard's coming back, and if so, how, because this is supposed to take place sometime in the future. And also, it looked as if he died, or she, in the previous trilogy. Although, people love to point out that in the red ending, Shepard survives. Well, at least there's the notion that Shepard survives. I think like the final shot is of some rubble, and Shepard's armor like is in there and like something moves, like an arm or something like moves at the end. I don't know if you've seen that before. So if they,
I was thinking of doing another playthrough though, so maybe I'll take a look. See
if they, I think Red was just destroy all machines.
Yeah.
And like just fuck all AI, which meant like the Geth are gone now too, which is a shitty decision. But if they made that one canon, it would stop the fucking reboot.
Which seems to be the general consensus of the direction it should go in, and I don't care. Like just pick one and let's just do it.
Look, give me a good story in the next game. I don't give a fuck what happened.
I really hope like none of the team is really still there that made the original 3.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it really going to be I don't want to be a naysayer, but it's like,
let me hit you with some optimism.
Hit me with it.
Since we're still riding the Henry Cavill high of Superman.
Right.
We're flying on his cape coattails. We're hanging on. I'm going to have if this wasn't already our thumbnail, it would be Henry Cavill flying through the sky, Superman pose, and just Derek and I, and it looks like we're hanging on to his cape. We could call the episode Cavill's Coattails.
Cavill's Coattails. That's us.
I like alliteration. I'm writing it down in case we don't think of something better. Cavill's Coattails. Anyway, moving on. I forgot what was I saying. Oh, let me hit you with some optimism.
Hit me.
What if, because it's not the same generation that made the original trilogy that was so great, what if the analogy is similar to Filoni and Favreau, who came in to make Star Wars after growing up and loving it? What if we're getting the dev team who grew up playing the original trilogy, and they treat it like it's a fucking, like the gem that it is, and they are stoked and they want to do it justice? That's a lot of optimism.
Yeah, but for every Filoni, how many like Witcher showrunners are there? You know what I mean? Like it's got to be like,
of course,
it's got to be like 1 to 80 at least.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's much higher than 1 to 1. That's what I'll say.
But no, I'm not going to be a naysayer. I mean, it's like those games are great. I actually even want to go back and play Andromeda, which I never played all the way through. I only played about half. I
didn't hate Andromeda. The combat is the best it's ever been in Andromeda.
That's Veronica's exact stance on it, and she's like obviously a fanatic. She said she didn't hate the story, but the combat is incredible. I remember the combat being very good, very fun.
They give you like a jetpack and shit.
Yeah. So
yeah, you can like burst up into the air and like get like a fucking. It's very fun. The story, it released, it was a glitchy pile of shit, and the story was like just okay. They had like what would you call it? Analogies for other races and they were like it's the same situation where in Arkham Origins, not to bring it back to Batman again, they didn't have freeze grenades in Origins, they had glue grenades, and you're like, what the fucking really? That's the freeze grenade analogy. Okay, moving on. There's nothing else to say. There's no announced date. There's no trailer. There's nothing. This is just, they're just giving you.
It's a cool ad campaign, though. I got to tell you what they've been doing. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's giving me a solid chub.
Yeah,
chub. I didn't go 6 to midnight, but
but the blood's it's showing up. It's starting to fill out down there.
6 to like 8:30, maybe. And then it's bedtime. Okay, moving on. I only put this in here because you and I watched Raised by Wolves, and I thought that this actor was a fantastic bad guy. Yeah. He's got a really interesting cadence to his delivery when he's acting. He definitely looks the part of asshole. Dune, the Sisterhood, which is a show we've talked about before. It's like a sequel show that's going to show the rise of what's the name of that Sisterhood? God damn it.
Bene Gesserit.
Bene Gesserit, very good.
Surprised I got that so quick.
Is it Gesserit or Gesserit?
Your Gesserit is as good as mine.
Oh my God, boys, we got one. Eagles and the Commanders start playing soon, by the way. Don't know if you care. I've been keeping tabs. And Dune Sisterhood is cast. Travis Fimmel is his name.
Weak name for a strong-looking guy. Travis Fimmel.
What a weak name. I was going to say something very, very stupid because it rhymed with Fimmel. Okay, fine.
Yeah, please.
It's dumb. Don't judge me on this. I wasn't going to say it. I am only now, in hindsight, going to say it for comedic effect.
Okay.
Fimmel probably couldn't even pick up a thimble. It's very stupid.
I'm glad you shared that with me.
So I didn't say it. Anyway,
and our listeners.
much like the Mass Effect news, details on the new series are scant, sparse, whatever other word you want to use.
Scant. That was good. Yoink. I got to use that more often. Thank you for that.
Scanty. Details are scant. We don't know much about it, so we're going to move on. We just want to tell you he's in it, and we think he's cool.
I'm happy to hear it. Cool guy, crazy eyes, and even
good. I'm sorry, I'm like talking over you constantly.
That's okay.
Even in this Slash Film article, shout out to Slash Film for letting us use your ads here and calling you out. We'll do a little ad spot for you in about a half hour. Even this ad that we're looking at right now, even this article that we're looking at says that he's an excellent casting decision. So it doesn't look like it's just me and Derecho over here that like him. It looks like everybody is pretty much on board. I also realized
he has pretty eyes. They're also scary. They're as pretty as they are scary. That's what he has going for him.
That's true. I also didn't realize he was in the Warcraft movie. He was one of the human.
Your dog
knights.
is making eye contact with me. It's fucking me up, man.
She was telling you when you were gonna die.
Yeah, my God, she looked right into the camera. My God, I felt like a chill go down my spine.
Nice, she wants to probably go out. It's about 11:15, which means that you should go bug mommy because daddy's busy. Okay, moving on. Travis Fimmel, my dog can tell you the day you're gonna die. Moving on. This is Studio Ghibli, which you might be going, what? Chris isn't talking about weeb shit. Aha! But it's Star Wars related, so I am.
Hang on, I have to stop you.
Okay.
Studio Ghibli is not weeb shit. It is of a completely different class.
I was painting with too broad a brush. You're right. I know. I've heard that all the Ghibli stuff is incredible. I have yet to sit down and watch
a good chunk of it.
Any of it. Give me one of them to watch. I'll watch it for next week.
Spirited Away.
Oh, that's the one with the sad waves.
Wait, what?
All right, I'm right. That's the one with the sad waves.
Wait, are you really going to watch it?
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it too. I love it. It's a great movie. It feels like a dream. You'll see what I mean. That rhymed. See you next week.
We're done here. Shut it down, boys.
Really
Turn the car off.
Movie.
We're getting out. Don't let it idle. Star Wars Lucasfilm is partnering with Studio Ghibli, and they have a collaboration. And originally, when this article came out 4 whole days ago, it was a tease because Studio Ghibli just posted a picture on Instagram of Baby Yoda, and that everyone took it to mean they were going to do something Baby Yoda adjacent. Well, guess what? They fucking did, and it's already out. It came out 2 days, I think, after they had the teaser. It's a short that's on Disney Plus that I have not watched yet.
Me neither.
Based around Grogu, aka Baby Yodes, aka
yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna watch it for next week. It's a short, so I imagine it's not that long. Damn it! Wasn't sure how to do that. But yeah, that's it. And apparently it's lovely. I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't heard anything about it, but I really they really do put out some really choice movies. And if you like Spirited Away, that's a good entry because it might be their best film. But they have a bunch of really. I actually think most of their stuff is pretty mid, and I think that people do give them a little more credit than they deserve. But the stuff that's like at the top is more than deserves to be seen in the level of revere that it's seen in or held in rather.
Okay.
So I am actually excited for you to watch Spirited Away.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Don't know why.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I got you. We'll watch it for next week.
You said that so sincerely.
I struggle. Goku Ghibli short. I want to look up the name because this article doesn't have it. It's called Grogu and Dust Bunnies. That's hilarious.
All right.
As long as he's not eating any poor frog lady's baby eggs again.
Right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So speaking of eating baby alien eggs, Andor. Yes. Oh, right. It's also Star Wars. That's a segue. I'm just kidding. It looks like, so I've heard this before, and I'm not sure the level of truth there is to it. When Andor first came out, I heard that it wasn't doing the crazy numbers that Obi-Wan and other Star Wars shows have been doing. Not that it was necessarily performing poorly, but that it wasn't gaining the traction that it deserved because everyone basically unanimously across the internet feels the same way about the show that Derek and I do. which means that they all stole their opinions from us.
Yeah,
and
we were the
first
originators.
ones to-
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But it seems like Disney is trying to combat this by they're going to actually be releasing the first 2 episodes of Andor. They're going to hit ABC, FX, Freeform, and Hulu on the Thanksgiving holiday, which is actually a great idea.
Mhm.
My only suggestion would have been put the first 3 episodes
3.
up.
Yeah, 3 is the hook.
Because we both talked about this. 1 and 2 should be 1 episode. And 3 is at the end of 3, all this shit goes down for the end of the first arc. It's very fun. And that's when you get introduced to Stellan Skarsgård's character. And you really want more at that point, I would say.
Yeah. I'm really happy that they're doing this because, like, I never want to be that guy. Like, I'm sure you've seen on Facebook that I'll put, like, little mini reviews for stuff, a game I'm playing, a show I'm watching, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I want people to, like, hopefully see it and go, well, I should check that out. But I never want to be that guy that's, like, nagging people to watch stuff. So if this, gets the feelers out. And I understand, like, a lot of people are like, a lot of these Star Wars shows have sucked. And although I don't think that's like a flatly true thing, I get why people feel that way. A lot of them have been like bad shows with good moments. So they're kind of like peeling back on the Star Wars Disney shit. And I'm like, fuck, man, they finally came out with a really good one. And you're letting the like not so good ones in the past prevent you from watching this, which is a shame. So I sound like that guy, like, trust me, bro, just trust me. It's really good. This one's good. But so yeah, hopefully it'll suck more people in to its gullet.
Yeah, because it's got DSLs.
Yeah, big old suckers.
Dynamic story levity. I don't know what that means. Okay, moving on. If you want to watch Andor and you don't have Disney Plus and you don't pirate it,
now's your chance.
which you shouldn't because it's worth money. Go watch it on one of these networks for free. That's FREE on ABC. Yeah, you're welcome. FX, Freeform, and Hulu. They're all going to be there over the course of the holidays. It's going to be on ABC Wednesday, FX Thursday, Freeform Friday, Hulu available from November 23rd through December 7th. I think Hulu's probably the bet. I would say most people pay for at least one streaming service nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably choosing between Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max. So I think Hulu is a good play. Anyway, moving on once again. Oh boy, do I love telling Nintendo I won't give them money.
Yeah, it feels good.
Now, I'm going to preface this next article by saying that I have a lot of sympathy for game devs who work hard on something and then their work is pirated. And that piracy results in loss of jobs or downsizing or anything that would affect their livelihoods or career, because that is shitty and fucked up. With that being said, fuck Nintendo, though. Am I right? This game will still sell like hotcakes
100%.
because Nintendo has an insane market share on, I don't even know what you would call it, this type of monster RPG. Pocket Monster RPG. I'm talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet releases, and we've talked about this once or twice. Derek and I played the previous Pokemon game. I'm Arceus.
Arceus, not Atreus, but I went to say that too at first because we're playing God of War Ragnarok.
You did play it, or no?
I did, but very briefly. It was very dialogue box heavy, and I kind of
the intro is kind of annoying. And then what happened with me is I played for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
And there really it wasn't a main series entry. And the whole point of the game was you like get sent back in time and you're just out cataloging and collecting Pokemon. And in the concept of like a free roam in the world Pokemon game, and you do battle to weaken them sometimes.
Yeah.
But you can also like different the Pokeballs, obviously, and you can sneak up on them and just catch them as if you would see them do in one of the Pokemon cartoons. It was really wish fulfilling in that way. Mm-hmm. But that's really all there is to Arceus. There's not gym battles. There are other trainers, but like training Pokemon is still a very nascent idea in that world. So you fight they're not crazy big battles or anything like that. And that's part of the allure of a Pokemon game is like training up your crew and fucking shit up
you
with
pretty
them.
much just get a list and you're like, go collect all this shit. And you're like, sweet. And then you do it and you come back and they're like, thank you. Now do that again.
Yeah.
And then again. And then again. And it's like,
it's the Pokemon Death Stranding.
Yeah.
And the issue with that is it's not just like go collect a Zapdos and go collect it's like go collect 20 Zapdos.
Yeah.
And go collect 30, I don't know, Rhinocetron. I made that one up. And it's all that you do, and I mean, listen, it's fun the first 20 times, and then you're like, okay, hide in the bush, throw the Pokeball, got another one, checkbox. So this one looks like it's gonna be a nicer balance. It's a modern day, but it has the free roam elements of Arceus. It has gyms, it has battles. It very much looks like it could be the balance between the original formula.
Did not know that.
Oh yeah. It looks like it could very well be the balance between the OG formula and the newer gameplay introduced in Arceus. And I was looking forward to playing it. Now, Derek, let me pop quiz, middle of the podcast.
Yeah.
Was Chris Reed going to give Nintendo money to buy it?
No, he was not. He was never
very
going
much
to.
correct.
It was never going to
happen.
happen.
And let me tell you what happened. And bless my little envious heart, because not only did this game leak early, which is the part that I said sucks for devs, that's not fun. This game leaked very early. This game comes out the 18th. It was out on the internet as of this article was last Thursday. Mm-hmm. So it leaked, let's see, what was that? Till almost 10 days in advance.
Yeah.
It was being live streamed for people to watch play, and of course the game is now leaked out into the wild. People are pirating it, selling the ROMs. All of this comes down to say people are already playing it on the Steam Deck,
right?
4 days before it officially releases. I feel very conflicted because this is my dream. I said that I would not give Nintendo more money because of their shitty business practices, but they do release a title every now and then that I want to put my grubby little mitts on. One of them is the next Zelda game.
Yeah.
I've thought about this.
Can I absolve you of your guilt?
I want you to.
I just did it. Just do it.
Oh,
just do it.
That's not how it works. I still feel guilty. But here's what I'm thinking. I actively don't want to, because I have a Steam Deck now. The Switch feels like a baby toy in my hands, and I'm not like Steam, but it like the Steam Deck is much bigger. It's a heavier device. It's got a bigger scrin.
Right, gives you sweaty hands.
Yeah,
it's doing a lot of work, that thing.
Yeah, it's got Cheeto dust built into the grips. But when I picked up the Switch last night because Grayson wanted to play Mario or something, he likes to look at the load screen and pick his driver, and then he backs out and picks a different driver. That's all he does. Still not at the level of, playing a game yet. And I picked it up and I was like, oh my God, like the weight, it just feels like a child's toy now.
Yeah.
I was saying all of that. I promise there's a point, usually, to say that I'm not opposed to giving Nintendo money, but in certain circumstances, here's one of them. If I were to play the new Zelda game, I'm going to play it on my Steam Deck. 1000%, I'm emulating it. It's going to run on my Steam Deck. That's the platform of choice that I would like to play it on. I don't care what Nintendo says. But I'm only opposed to Nintendo's pricing strategies when they keep a game that's 3 and 4 years old at full price on their stores. They never discount it. Yeah. They don't sell codes. You can't get it through a third-party vendor. All of these shitty anti-consumer practices. However, if I buy it, when it comes out, I won't feel bad about buying a brand new game at full price. Mm-hmm. And then I'll just give the code away to one of my friends. I don't feel guilty. You guys got money.
Oh, I got you. So you would still emulate it, but you bought the game, and then you would I
paid the dev.
Right.
They got my money. I don't feel guilty, but I'm going to play it on the platform that I want to play it on.
Right. That's very noble of you.
Yeah, my backtracking just pirated it.
I would skip one of those steps. Yeah.
I
would make sure I was the only beneficiary in that scenario. That would be my number one priority.
I really did like it. Maybe
I would if it was like an indie dev. I'd feel bad about it, but like a huge fucking Game Freak's gonna be okay. They all have dinner on the table. It's gonna be.
You know what you could do to help me, Daddy? Remind me about the like low class, regular, everyday people who Nintendo sues into the dirt for using their shit in like
they sued like a 9-year-old kid for like a lot of money for like making a fake or something. I don't know. I think that actually got proven to be a false internet story. No, as I was saying, I was like, wait a second. I think I read that was bullshit. That didn't actually happen. But for shmemulation, they absolutely do. Just fucking ruin people's lives. Like, you can't even just hit it like an everyman with like a $10,000 fine and then be like, don't ever do it again. You're just trying to take him for like $9 million. Like, what are you doing? Come on.
They're making an example out of you.
It's ridiculous.
Anyway, go pirate all Nintendo stuff. Moving on.
Yeah, please do.
This is such a bullshit story I tossed in just because it was Pokemon adjacent. But it's also a scumbag Steve story, okay? So there was a cop in Johnson County, Kansas, not Arkansas, not Texarkana, Derek, but but Kansas.
Right, that one.
He had his police license revoked after he was caught trying to shortchange a game store out of almost $400 worth of Pokemon cards. Talk about the scumbag Steve move. They've identified him, and I will gladly proclaim his name on our tiny podcast. William Knight. He was a full-time law enforcement officer with the office since 2019. What he would do, his scheme, his devious evil plan, he would walk into the store shopping in a uniform, probably I'm a cop, don't look at me.
Mm-hmm.
When he, quote, aroused, sorry, that's how porn starts, but also how they aroused the suspicions of the asset protection employee. Now, because I worked at Best Buy, I know that that's the guy that stands at the door to make sure you're not stealing anything.
Yeah.
So this guy he was doing something funky, caught the eye of the guy watching. Turns out Knight had been caught. What he would do is take barcodes off of inexpensive items he had at home, take them with him to the store, stick them on the back of Pokemon card boxes, and then he would buy them at a greatly reduced price. How do you think that you could get away with this?
Hang on. I'm going to tell you. Can I tell you why?
Tell me. Hit me.
Because now I'm not going to be subject somebody that we both know very near and dear to us to like using this audio file in a future like legal court case. So I'm not going to identify them by name, but you will know who this is the moment I tell the story. The reason that he would think that he could get away with this is because it's very easy to. This person that we know.
Oh no!
Would take.
You're gonna make me think less of someone, and I love it.
Would take like think like seasoning packets on like a taco, whatever, like like that. Right. And then like the one time I saw him do it, he took like a $250 tent, right? Barcodes on the bottom, and then he held the taco seasoning packet where the barcode was, and then swept it through like that. So like you are appearing to scan the thing, and it boops. So asset management is just back there. And they're like, cool, he's good. Don't worry about it.
Well, you didn't give away who it was.
I told you I wasn't going to, very intentionally. This is being recorded and put on the internet. I'm not going to. This is like a $250 tent that he got for like 97 cents.
You've already given it away because it's a tent.
Exactly. Yeah. I knew you'd figure it out.
Where do you use tents at, Derek? Campgrounds, yes.
But he would do it with other shit too. But one time his girlfriend got a whole fucking thing of groceries in the cart, and she just walked out. Nobody stopped her. They just don't pay Walmart employees enough to give a shit when you steal a cart full of groceries, I guess.
Yeah, apparently. Did you hear what I said? Because I was proud of it.
I didn't.
I didn't. You said, shit, what did you say? You said, oh, they did it with other stuff, and I said, like, devil sticks? Anyway,
it's the 90s, dude. Welcome to Portland.
Welcome to Portland. You guys want to hack the sack with me in a couple minutes? Let's form a half circle. We'll pass it back and forth. Okay.
Can I just say it's crazy to me that this cop like was decopped for doing this, and then like cops will like shoot people who are running away in the back who are innocent, and just go and leave. And they're just fine. Like they're still out there.
They get a vacation, basically.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, you gotta go on leave. And
Yeah.
but that just means you get paid.
But if you
we're
stole
gonna-
some Pokemon cards, you're fucking out, buddy. Get out.
but
It's an
look,
abuse of
I'm not
privilege.
saying he shouldn't have been fired. He 100% should have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But also, yeah, much worse shit happens, and
that's
slaps
totally
on the
like
wrists get
NBD,
passed
yeah.
around. Yeah. No big deal. No big deal. He said he couldn't breathe, but you didn't hear him, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, actually,
Cops are
that
pieces
guy.
of shit. I know we don't get political here, but I'm just going to throw that out there. Not to be political or anything, but bam, overt political statement.
So okay, I will admit something
Hit me with it.
that not every cop is inherently a piece
No,
of shit.
they're not. I know. I'm generalizing.
But the types of guys that Derek and I went to high school with, I didn't even go to high school with Derek, but I know it's true for him too. I'm saying that confidently out on Front Street, that I know that this was the same experience for him. The guys that he knows that went on to become cops were the guys that always felt like they could get away with whatever they wanted. Maybe they weren't the smartest guy,
Yeah.
but they wanted a good job and they liked. What's the way to describe this?
I once saw a meme, and I think this is perfect. I think
Okay.
that this is the best
This
way to
might work.
describe like
Hit me.
80% of cops of our generation. It was like, remember the kid that when you were playing Street Fighter, if you started to win, he would unplug your controller? That kid is a cop now. And I'm like, got it. Boom. Like they couldn't like just earn respect and power, so they just like cheated and like put on a uniform where people like have to give that to them. Now you're right. Like I said that as a generality, and I said it for shock factor. I don't think that every cop, and it's funny because we're talking about people we grew up with. I actually grew up with a dude who's a cop who's like just a fucking stellar dude, just like a great dude.
Oh,
And like
I know
knowing
several
he's
officers.
out there, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, obviously not every single one of them is bad, but
Right,
it's just
that's
like there's an issue of accountability across the board. That's the real issue. If people had to
Yeah.
suffer for the things they were doing wrong, then all of these fucking asshole cops would disappear because they'd be in jail for what they were doing or fired or whatever.
And they're-
it's the system that's the facilitator.
and just the environment, encourages. There's a group mentality. If we stick together,
Yeah,
someone who might come in at a mid level. I don't want to preach it. I was never a cop. I can't. But I've had friends, become cops, and there's a change in their personality. They talk about people suspected of doing things as if they know that they were guilty and that they would shoot them themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like judge, jury, like better than everyone else because you're a cop, and these people who are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, in your eyes, they're just all trash. They're pieces of shit. Your job is the most dangerous. We get it, buddy. We fucking get it. You know what I mean? It's the type of like, well, it's me or him. I'm not gonna get shot at my dude. You are paid to protect and serve people.
Yeah.
If you're that worried about getting shot that you're going to immediately fire before anything can happen, you're in the wrong profession.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Sidetrack.
And
You said we weren't going to get political, and we kind of
we kind of did a little bit.
hashtag cop talk TCN. Don't tell anybody that we said that. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Could make my life difficult. You know what I mean? I'm not a big
You're
guy.
just gonna hear whoop whoop in the middle of the night. They're just letting you know that they're out there.
How fucking crazy would that be? It would get, bro. Is there not a horror movie out there where like there's I know, spoiler alert, corrupt cop somewhere who abuses his power to like
There was one with Sammy
fuck with
J.
somebody?
Yeah, there is. What was it called? Man, this was like right around when we were done high school.
Because that's legitimately horrifying.
Yeah. No, it is. It's a good movie. I'm pretty sure it was Sammy J. We'll look into it.
Yeah.
We'll look into it. It's
Shoot
like
it.
17 years old. I'm not about to like scroll through his IMDb.
Shoot the J. Okay, moving on. Anyway, this guy got fired. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Also, bye, because a new article. Hey, I'm not going to read the next one. We don't need to talk about it.
Okay.
Look, there's a lot of shit going on with Twitter. We don't need to cover it. Just so you know the story, because I know some of you out there might be like Derek and I and go, oh, what were you going to say? It's going to drive me crazy. It's about a YouTube streamer who's on Twitter, and now you can pay to get Twitter Blue, which gives you a blue check mark, which means the algorithm puts yours up top. It's the most important. It's why famous people can DM each other on Twitter and actually see their messages. people were paying for Twitter Blue solely so that they could go message their favorite streamer and that their messages would pop up. And that's what we were going to talk about. But we're not, because this whole week has just been one crazy Twitter thing after
There's
another.
nothing to add.
We
every now and then we put something in there at like the beginning, and then by the time we actually record the episode, like every possible fucking permutation of the conversation has already been had. And it just feels like, what's the point of talking about this?
None. So that's why we're not gonna.
Let's not do it.
Plus, I want to talk about other things today.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Moving on. I also don't really care that much about this, but it is gaming related.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of neat, actually. Battle passes have been a thing for a while, and it seems like a new iteration on that idea, one that's gamer friendly, whereas most changes to those battle pass structures are usually bad for people who pay for them. And by that, I mean grindier or, less achievable if you don't pay for the premium thing. With Modern Warfare 2, it's the game we talking about, they have a game-changing, non-linear battle pass, which lets players unlock things in the order in which they want, which, when I say it, doesn't sound revelatory, but is in fact pretty fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
So normally, they have the traditional battle passes are tiered unlocks as you earn XP, progress normally, but this latest one is a non-linear. As the blog puts it, just so I can stop stumbling over my words, it takes the form of a multi-sector map. So you can unlock elements of the past in the order you prefer, intentionally choosing features that you care about instead of slogging through a bunch of unlocks that you probably don't care about. So each map has 20 sectors with 5 items in each sector, which is already an exhausting thing to say. But the battle token tiers can be used to either unlock adjacent sectors or earn more items within an unlocked sector. Essentially, to get all the stupid shit out of the way, these tokens that you earn can be used to unlock specific items within the battle pass at your own pace, whether it's a free function weapon or a cooperator skin. I'm reading right out of this article. You have control over what you get, blah, blah, blah. Point of the story is I hope that this goes like gangbusters for them and they sell twice as many battle passes as they ever have, so that they continue to do it. And not only that, but other developers take notice, because yes, please.
I don't know what's happened. Like, this is insane to me because this is so cool. Like, this is like, not that I'm a fan of battle pass to begin with. I don't think anyone is, but it's like clearly not a model that's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
But like with Overwatch 2, for instance, which at a face value is still a very fun game to play. But their battle passes, like you said, it's linear. It's like you have to go through like 20 levels of grinding every fucking day.
I'm not going to play it, Derek.
Just to get... I'm not trying to convince you, I promise.
I know. I just thought that would be funny.
It's like in all this inane bullshit, like voice lines that you can like say, like nobody cares about any of that. So the fact that they have this cool new system where you can kind of like at least have some choice in what you're getting. You're not like stuck on this one path or whatever. But what's insane to me is how I was never into Modern Warfare. Like even back in the day, it was like Modern Warfare versus Halo, and I was very much on the Halo side. I thought Modern Warfare was boring. I never got into it. Like I missed that whole thing. No, I didn't miss it. I tried. I never got into it. It just wasn't my thing. And like the games that I always end up loving the most are the ones that I see like no advertisements for, like no paid advertisements, but I just hear people talking about them everywhere. I have heard so many good things about this game, and even from people who, like me, weren't really into it to begin with. And I'm like, am I about to like buy into the fucking Modern War? Like it missed me with the first wave. Is it about to like suck me in on wave 2? I think I'm ready to get sucked. I mean, it is a little crazy though. Like this is a paid game. Like you drop 60 on it and then you have to pay for a battle pass. That's kind of crazy town USA. But
yeah,
I
agree.
I just keep fucking hearing about it. People really are saying good things about this game. I think I'll grab it when it's on sale in case I jump into it and just dislike it again. But no, I'm glad they're doing it. Goo on you. That's the opposite of poo on you. Goo on you because you wouldn't come on someone you don't like. That's someone you have an intimate relationship with. Goo on you.
There are specific fetishes out there.
That's true.
All right, moving on to our trailers. Before we do, I've been trying to make it a point to shill at the beginning, and I've been missing it. So very, very quickly, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, at The Cynical Nerd. Also, YouTube, our handle is at The Cynical Nerd. So it's youtube.com/@The Cynical Nerd. If you want to tweet at us, you can do a hashtag #FuckTCN or hashtag AskTCN. You can send us an email if you want to at questions@thecynicalnerd.com, and we'll read them here and talk to you about them. And then, finally, we have a merch store. Been open for a while, a couple weeks now. That's not really a while, but it's been open for a little bit. Couple cool designs. I'm gonna use some time this week to make another design or two to get it up, and that's all I got. That was nice and easy.
You actually missed one, and that's Saturday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time.
God.
We're doing the Cynical stream where we play a co-op game. We stream it to Twitch, record the videos, and upload them to YouTube the next day. Right now, we're playing Dead Space 3, of which we've done our episode 3. Yeah, pretty short one. I wasn't feeling well.
3's not up on YouTube yet, but it will be shortly.
And then we're missing this weekend because I'm moving. But the following weekend, we will be pulling our dicks out yet again for Harambe and for Isaac Clarke and Jacoby Carver. I still don't know his first name.
Beat me like I was going to beat my dick when I pulled it out for Harambe. Dicks out, boys. Dicks out. Okay.
Dead Space 3 is, I'm having a grand old with you. I just got to say, I know we keep saying that like it's revelatory or something, but it really is. It would not be as fun without a bro, but it's
thank you.
I love you. You know, I give you kisses.
I love you too. It's been really fun together. Again, yes, I agree. Dead Space is a fun game. 1 and 2 are good, but they're very atmospheric. There's a genuine scariness to them that 3 with a bro just doesn't exist. Like the game does surprise me every now and then.
Yeah, like a fucking booger butt jumps out of a man.
Like, and but we're just having a great time, joking, drinking, laughing. We had a pretty good audience, both sides last time, talking. Mine were abusing me and making me drink alcoholic beverages very quickly, and that was fun. Because I'm drinking like 1 day a week, I had like 4 seltzers that night, and I was lit.
Yeah.
Like, I went to bed, and I was like, ooh, okay. And then I had more last night, because I don't know, felt like it.
Right.
I was going to fast yesterday, and then I decided not to, but I still skipped lunch.
I feel like that's so unnecessary. Like I understand your dedication and wanting to like shock your system, but you know.
I did it once already.
I just feel like you've made so much progress. Like what? Like it's not like you gained 15 pounds back and you need it's just one night.
Here's what happens to me. I get so strict about it that any deviation, I've told you this story before, but it gets more neurotic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same reason I don't typically cheat unless I have like a planned thing like Thanksgiving or the Halloween party at my job was my first one. Because any transgression, I'll call it, which is not appropriate, but for the sake of the story, anything outside of my diet just makes me feel insanely guilty, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. Oh, it's not your
dog making eye contact with me this time.
That is so creepy. Oh no, dude. Not after watching that movie earlier. That was genuinely startling. I appreciate you telling me because I would have. Oh,
fuck, I shouldn't have said anything. That would have been great.
I would have screamed.
If you just felt breath on your elbow.
Oh, no.
I wish I hadn't said anything.
Hey, bud.
What's up, dude?
I can see you in my webcam. Are you coming to say goodnight? It's 8:45. What are you still doing awake?
Oh, ruh-roh.
Come here. Come say goodnight.
Get the belt. Just kidding.
Oh. You want to tell Uncle Derek what we watched tonight? What'd you watch?
No.
You don't. You're being really silly.
You don't know.
What movie did you watch? Are you just gonna be silly and laugh? Because I'll just put you right back down. What movie did you watch? Oh boy, you don't know. You watched Home Alone.
Home Alone, classic.
Yeah.
Did this face?
He thinks it's do the Home Alone face. Go ahead. Look at Uncle Derek. Watch. He'll do it again. Do it again. Go ahead.
There you go.
Very,
Perfect.
very nice.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
9 out of 10 at least.
You can't hear me. Said perfect. You want to say hi?
Hi.
There you go. And say good night.
Good night.
And say I love
Good
you.
night, buddy.
Love you, Uncle Derek.
Love you
Very
too,
nice.
pal.
Yeah. He said he loves you too. I love you, buddy. Go be a good boy. Don't come back up here. Good night. Be careful down the steps. Both hands, you crazy person. Good night. Go with mommy before I beat you mercilessly with my love. I'll smother you in kisses.
Holy shit.
I
Good
think he's
save.
going.
I'll beat you mercilessly with my love.
Yeah.
Because there's a microphone in front of me. Anyway, we were about to do
Yes, we were. Trailers.
Coattails.
Oh, didn't like that. Don't like that. But so anyway, whatever. We'll get to it. That startled me because when I did the glance, I just saw a little body.
Right.
Right around the corner. I was like, anyway, moving on. Okay, very, very quickly. The Machine with Burt Kreischer looks like a terrible movie. Moving on to the next one. Listen,
Do you really think it looked terrible?
No, I don't think it looked terrible. I think that not really any of the acting was super believable in the trailer, but he's not an actor. I know that. He's a comedian. The vomit gag at the end actually made me laugh.
Me too.
So if there's genuinely funny or grossed out humor in there, I'll probably like it. But yeah.
I think it's going to be a gimmick movie, fuck, the one with Seth Rogen and the Toucher, James Franco, North Korea, The Interview. That's it.
Okay.
It just like the concept was so like, oh, that's funny, but then you go and it's like taking a 1-sentence concept and making it a 2-hour movie. It's like, oh my god, we get it. It's like they were just filling in time. It kind of feels like it might have that same aspect to it, but I thought the trailer was funny.
Yeah, Mark Hamill's in it, which is like super fucking random.
Yeah,
like incredibly random. But there's, this like super serious like Russian mobster thing, and it cuts to Bert, and there's a dog back, and he goes,
scared me.
He goes, I'm your origin story, and I was like, Bert, not an actor, buddy. And here's the thing, I've said this before. Again, I'll keep it short. I like Bert as a dude. Yeah. He seems like a great guy to be friends with. Him and Tom, I love just their relationship. It's fucking super endearing. They love each other. Their podcast is funny. He's funny on the podcast. I'm not a fan of his stand-up by itself. I just...
Can I tell you what the trick is? Just be drunk and then watch it. Every time I've watched his stand-up sober, I don't laugh. But when I'm drunk, it's hilarious to me. Okay. I don't know why. I think he writes it when he's drunk, and so it appeals to drunk people. I
might. Yeah, there's... And furthermore, to start me off even more of a negative spot for this, I hate the Machine story. It's become like this.
I don't really.
Oh god, yeah. It's become this thing that he like. It's like a signature thing. People ask him to retell it all the time, and I, for one, can't stand those things because to me, I'm not saying comedians can't retell like classics, but like it gets brought up all the time. It's in the song for Two Bears One Cave, for Christ's sake. Like it's become his thing, and I've heard the story, and it's just like this. I don't know, whatever. Go look it up for yourself or watch the movie. Don't do it. I'm not going to bore everyone with the details. I'm not a huge fan of his stand-up. I think that story is kind of dumb. I've heard Tom like give him like low-key shit before.
Right.
And he was like mentioning, he was like, oh, my story of the machine. Tom's like, what's that? I've never heard that before. And then they both just start laughing.
When they laugh together, it like makes me, I think we talked about this when we streamed on Saturday. It like makes me have more hope for just like humanity. Like it's the most like, it's like a cure for depression when they're both like laughing really hard. It's just great. It's incredible.
It's contagious, and it like wars end and your poops come out solid for a week. It's like, it's
no diarrhea for 7 days.
Yeah. All things
Thanks,
you could love.
Tom.
Yeah. No hangover the next day when they laugh together. Yeah. No, I mean, there's been a couple of times. There was the Kool-Aid clip, which is notorious at this point. Yeah. You mentioned it to me the other day. You were like, I think it was on the Cynical stream.
Yeah.
Innocent plug for the thing we do on Saturdays. And you were like, I watch that. It just makes me laugh on whenever I'm like feeling bad.
Yeah.
And they did another one where Bert's talking about like how he would what did he say, he would hit his wife before he left her or something. Like I forget, I don't know how they get on the topic, but he's like, I would hit her before or something like that, or I would hit her before I leave her or something like that. And he was saying it so innocently, but it was like this realization that you know he would never do either.
Right.
But you know,
I
you
love
should look it
Bert
up.
because he looks like a jockey asshole, but he's like a total just like curmudgeon doughy
He seems like
sweetheart.
such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Go see it if you want to. This movie is obviously loosely based on the Machine story. No idea if it's going to be like a sequel to it. It looks like there might be flashbacks. I'm really not 100% sure. But he puts the vomit in his pocket, and he's like, she's like, "Why'd you put it in your pocket?" He's like, I don't know where to put it. Which made me laugh. And when they watched it together at the end of Sober October on the Joe Rogan, they were all on the Joe Rogan podcast. It was a good episode. I don't listen to Rogan's podcast often, but I downloaded that one because I knew they were all on it.
Again, the key for Rogan's podcast, when he has like political people on, skip. When he has comedians on, those episodes are incredible.
Ari Shaffir, Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, Joe. It was a fucking riot. The whole episode is hilarious. And he shows this teaser on it, and he's literally going, he's like, Joe's like, am I legally allowed to play this? And he's like, well, I think so. He's like, I texted them and told them I was going to. They said they said they weren't sure or something like that. And he's like, well, I'm not going to get fined a bunch of fuck. He was like, you cover my legal fees? Anyway, moving on. It looks fun.
Yeah.
Next movie. Speaking of movies that look fun. Kidding, it's opposite day. The Whale from A24. We've heard about this before. It's from Darren Aronofsky.
I didn't know it was Aronofsky until this trailer, which makes me more excited for it.
Yeah, a wonderful director. Did Black Swan, among other things. Directed by Darren Aronofsky. This is the one we've heard about, starring Brendan Fraser, and he plays a very overweight man. It's called The Whale, which I know is very on the nose. I have no idea what this movie is about.
Me neither. I don't want to. I don't want to know.
No, this trailer is of this very overweight man who has like this insane love and optimism of like the world around him. And I can't wait to see this movie.
Really? I thought from your opening, it sounded like you were not into it. That's actually, that's cool. That's great. That's great, dude.
That's fucking great.
That's fucking great.
No, what does he say in this movie? I'm going to fucking go quiet for a minute while I listen to the line, but he was like, do you ever get the feeling?
Oh, that the people are incapable of good or something. I don't know what it is. I know what you're talking about. I'll just talk while you're watching. Darren Aronofsky, acclaimed director who debuted with this film, Requiem for a Dream. Just kidding. He had one before that. That one sucked, but Requiem, great movie. Yeah. Excellent. Jared Leto gave me a false notion of Jared Leto. Let's see. Did you see it yet? Can I stop talking? I'm bad at rambling when you walk away.
Well,
okay, great.
I could hear the middle part because you were talking. It was a catch-22. But at the end, he's like literally got like the oxygen plug in his nose, and he's talking to like a little girl or something, and he's crying. And he said, "People," he goes, "People are amazing."
Yeah.
And it's the way he says it with this, like, you can tell he believes it in that moment, even if like Brendan as an actual actor does not, like he does in that moment for that character. I don't know. It looks incredible, and we've heard.
He got like a 9-minute standing ovation, which is,
I was going to say,
it's crazy. How can you, after 2 minutes, not sit back down? Not only not sit back down, but do another 7 minutes. Like,
I'll tell you a secret. I would have sat back down. Sorry.
Absolutely. I would have been like, this is what everyone's doing. I should be doing it too. And eventually my arms would get tired and I would sit down.
He's already won awards for this.
Yeah.
But I forget what you're talking about.
It's being like very blown up. Like people are really saying this is like a masterpiece movie. And Aronofsky does, like, he has hits and misses. He did like that fucking Noah's Ark movie with Russell Crowe, which was like, Mother, there was like a divide on. I liked it. A lot of people didn't. I see why they didn't.
Mother!
Yeah, that one about Danzig, exactly. Do you say Danzig or Danzig? That's another thing.
I'd say Danzig.
Okay, well, I say Danzig. That's just.
But I would believe you if you said it was Don.
If it was Don. So yeah, they're generally hit or miss. And this one is apparently a hit, so I can't wait for it.
It's fucking hot, dude.
It's a fucking hit.
Speaking of hits, complete sidetrack, and I'll just make this very quickly. I went shooting last weekend.
I'm so jealous.
I know this is usually like an opener conversation, but because Kevin Conroy died,
right, he ate our whole opener.
God,
asshole!
Like he's one of my favorite voice actors or something.
I told myself I wasn't going to make any morbid jokes for your sake.
Nice.
You like mentioned a couple that I was like, I know what I would say if I did not make that promise to myself right now, and I didn't do it. I had self-control. So you're welcome.
I'm very proud of you. But you didn't want to know what happens when you hold a gun improperly? That happens.
Holy shit. Which one was that? The shotgun?
Doesn't hurt that bad. I think this was the first one that I shot. So what had happened was I realized in retrospect, we were out there for a couple hours and you're supposed to hold the stock here against your shoulder, not over here on your bicep. I think what happened with the first one was because I hadn't been to a range in a while. I was a little nervous and I was holding it a little improperly. I was holding it more towards the side a little bit, which is why it was here. And I think it was up a little bit so that when it fired, it went and it like punched me. But no, I mean, I shot like that for a couple hours and it was fine. And then I got home and I was like, oh, that's going to be a bruise tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's complete sidetrack. Okay. I shot guns.
It is weird.
I have a penis.
It is weird. Like my dad has a bunch of rifles and he's like, I feel like there's a posture that you have to sink into eventually. Like, and it's very jarring and strange at first, but he was showing me like how to aim down this rifle and the way you hold it just does not feel like the way you would think you hold a gun when you're like just without any kind of training or whatever. And he's like, when you want to aim, you got to jam your face. He's like, basically like the like one, I don't know what any of this shit is called. The one part of the rifle is like literally like shoving my eye up like this, like in my cheekbone. He's like, you're not far enough in. I'm like, this doesn't feel right, Dad.
You don't want to do that because if you pull the trigger, it's going to punch you in the head. I mean, I guess it depends on the type of gun. So, I mean, rifles and ARs, well, unless it's like an older World War II rifle, but modern day rifles, assault rifles, sorry.
I can't wait till we get fucked TCN by a gun, not like, oh, these guys have no idea what they're talking about.
Please do it. I crave your attention, even if it's negative. Anyway.
We should just start saying wrong shit.
I'm like a dog who pisses on the floor every time you leave, even though I'm trained to go outside.
Right.
Because I want you to come back.
You're going to deal with that when you come home, and then we're going to connect.
But sorry, they're not assault rifles. They're Armalite rifles. That's what the AR is. But that's true.
I love the way you said that.
Yeah. Well, I just love dispelling the notion that like it's self-described incredibly liberal person is like against guns. I'm not. I think you should be able to buy them if you want to buy them for your home protection. I want to get a handgun license for myself for the house. I have no problem with guns themselves, but again, why are we being political? Because I want to dig my own grave. We're out at the range, and they're like, "Oh, this is my AR," and they pull out this giant mag, and somebody's like, "Oh, did you pin that?" Because in Jersey, you can only have
illegal
10 rounds in a mag, and he's like, "Yeah, there's a pin in it." He's like, "There's a pin in it because of blah blah blah," and obviously, I will not name the coworker who said it, but I'm like, "What do you need more?" So this is where I was like, "What do you need more than 10 bullets for, dude?"
Yeah.
If you didn't hit him after 10. Maybe you should go back to the shooting range again tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Maybe you should be here more.
So yeah, go buy a gun. You should be allowed to buy them. We live in a free country. But like, there should be some. Oh God, I sound like such a fucking liberal calling card. There should be some common sense gun laws. All right, let's move on. I shot things. It was fun. I'm actually surprisingly very good at skeet shooting. My coworkers who shoot often were surprised by how well I did, so I'm using this to pump up my ego for the next couple of days until it fades away into obscurity. But very fun. It's like feels like you're
me
playing
next time.
Real life duck hunt. It's fucking.
Just say I'm like your cousin or something. Like he's depressed. I told him I get him out of the house.
I told him while I was there that I was bringing your friend next time.
Okay.
And they said okay. It's probably not going to be till springtime because they don't go out in the winter. Boo. Anyway, next trailer. Random side conversation. I'm sorry. This one's a crier for sure, right? Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. This trailer for this movie that comes out in December 9th on Netflix, which has already been released at a film festival and reviews have already come out. By all regards, it's a wonderful film. This trailer is just fucking, I just watching this trailer, I was like, this film's going to make me cry.
It's really beautiful, isn't it?
It's really
all his
beautiful.
shit really is, and it's just like embarrassing to be Disney right now with their kind of budget, and they just came out with Pinocchio, and this just looks so much better.
It just looks like it looks so like creative. I don't know what to say. It's this beautiful. It's like a stop motion work of art.
Yeah. You know what's weird? Like this is being released in theaters for like a weekend before it comes to Netflix or something, right? So
select theaters end in November, and then it's Netflix December 9th. Yep.
Yeah. So they clearly know they have something here, which is, I don't know, that's encouraging to me. But no, it looks good. I don't know what else to say. Like we've talked it, we've covered it a couple times.
We have. I only wanted to say
good.
I'm guaranteeing I will cry. Stellar cast. I keep forgetting that Ewan McGregor's narrating in the beginning.
Right. Who is Jiminy Cricket? Was that Ewan?
I think it's Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, okay.
David Bradley, Gregory Mann, Ron Perlman, a longtime Guillermo collaborator, Finn Wolfhard, who's in fucking everything. Yeah. Kate Blanchett, Christoph Waltz.
Don't you fucking hate that kid? His stupid fucking face.
I don't, because he's just saying yes to gigs that are offered to him. But I hate the fact that they're casting him in everything for like dorky kids.
I don't hate him as a person. I don't know anything about him. It's his stupid sucker face. Like he has a fucking warhead in his mouth at all times. His cheekbones are like, I hate him. I'm sorry. Sorry, Finn. Okay. I love your body of work, but
I thought you were saying I love your body.
No,
dude, he's
that
underage.
Would be,
He's a small boy.
I love your work is how I should.
How old is he now? Oh, got to take a break to Google. What do you think? Give me a guess.
Googs. I'm going to say he's of age now. I'm going to say he's 18.
19.
God fucking damn it.
Which is surprising to me. I thought I was going to go under. I was going to say like 17.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Next trailer, The Witcher, Blood Origin. We've discussed this film before. We got a first look at it to refresh everyone's memory. The synopsis is it's set in an elven world 1,200 or 1,200 years before the time of Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri. The Witcher Blood Origin will tell a tale lost to history, the creation of the first prototype Witcher, and the events that led to the pivotal conjunction of the spheres, when the worlds of monsters, men, and elves merged to become one. It's a 4-part prequel series that comes out on Christmas Day on Netflix. That's super fun. Gives me something cool to watch that weekend. I'm looking forward to this, but I was not the biggest fan of this trailer.
I'm not looking forward to it, and I wasn't the biggest fan of this trailer.
Oh, double down.
I feel like when they release
double down, Derek.
DDD. When they released the synopsis of it, it sounded cool, and then like as we're getting more like looks at it, and just with obviously the horror show that's happening behind the scenes with Netflix Witcher, I'm kind of like, I feel like at best,
no, cast that aside. There's nothing to do with the show.
But like, I don't know, doesn't it a little bit?
I thought the same thing when I'm watching it. I'm like, yeah, but they're recasting Henry Cavill.
Well, like, so the best. All right, I think the best case scenario is this. To steal your line, Chris, I'd love to be proven wrong. I always want things to be good, and I do. I mean that. I think at best it's going to have the same issue that the Witcher show had. It's going to have a great main character because Michelle Yeoh is an incredible actor.
Oh yeah.
And she looks great in this. She looks like she's going to do great in this. But everything around that character is probably going to suck. That's my guess. And it's not like I'm basing that on nothing. I'm basing that on 2 seasons of a show in the same universe by, I imagine, a shared, a huge body of the same crew who did The Witcher.
Same crew.
Is it the exact same crew?
I have no idea. I just feel like shouting that. I want to feel involved.
Right. So yeah, we'll see. But anyway, I really want to replay The Witcher. I have to figure out how to work that into my gaming schedule.
You're not going to be able to for a couple weeks.
I know it's going to be a long time. There's a lot of shit coming out. What did you think of the trailer, Chris? Or what do you think? What do you think about the project? We'll say that because you said you weren't thrilled with the trailer.
I said what I meant, and I meant what I said, motherfucker.
Man,
I couldn't hold it.
Shooting that gun really got to you, huh?
Yeah, I feel my balls dragging on the floor under the chair.
You like walked out to your car. You had a political bumper sticker back there. You're like, I don't remember doing that. It's just like it's all starting now.
Oh no! Why does this say fuck
scratch
Biden?
You scratch your head. There's a red hat up there. What the fuck?
It's like Smile. I turn around and there's just a yeah. Anyway, where'd you come from? Feelings of inadequacy. I have to buy a gun now. No, dude, you want to know what's so prevalent? So I'm out there. I've been shooting before. I've said this again. We're cutting back to a random story, nothing to do with our trailer.
About shootings.
We go out there, and I've been shooting before. I went when I was younger, probably 10 or 12. My uncle took me, and there was a couple handguns and a World War II rifle that also kicked the shit out of my. They literally handed me a towel when I went to shoot this as a kid. And I was like, what's the towel for? And they just laid it over my shoulder and they were like, you're going to need it. And because I put the butt up against the towel so it would do less damage to my arm. And then I went with my father-in-law, Dave. He's a great guy. I love him to death. Very Republican, but we don't talk about politics and we get along great. Mm-hmm. He's a wonderful father. Never seen a man care for his daughters more than my father-in-law. He's awesome. And he took me.
I met him. He is a really cool dude.
Dave. He's a very nice guy. He took me and my buddy Steve shooting. He could take us shooting. Shit, we wouldn't have to go with my coworker.
Yeah.
Although I don't think he has shotguns, and skeet shooting was fucking titties. We got to do that.
Yeah.
And so this was my third time. So I get there and I hear all the typical, we're going to convert you guys today. I'm like, convert me to what? Like, I'm here. I'm obviously not opposed to guns.
Yeah.
And then there was one shotgun from one of my coworkers that I fell in love with. It was so nice. It was smooth. It didn't recoil too much.
Yeah.
I was killing it. That was the one in the video I was shooting. And I'm like, how much was this thing? And it was his dad's gun. And he was like, I think like 1,600.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah. Like, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, as if I wasn't already. I told him, I said, dude, if I had money to spend like that, I'm 100% upgrading something on my computer.
Yeah.
There's not even a question.
Well, that's my understanding. I think there's an AK-47 there as well. Apparently, they're very, very, very good, but they're like dummy expensive.
Yeah, they were all very fun to shoot. Okay, enough of making you jelly and enough of random tangents into my shooting adventure. Speaking of shooting, oh my God, perfect segue. Our final trailer is for the shoot master, the tactical range guru himself, John Wick. And this is for chapter 4. I did not watch all of 3, which is Parabellum.
I didn't watch any of it. Yeah, Parabellum. I didn't watch any of it. And I'd like to.
I watched about half of it, and I forget why we stopped. It was Sam and I watching it. We had some legitimate like life reason to stop the movie. We liked it, and I've heard great things about the first and the third one. The second one I always hear mid, like, man, it was okay.
I remember feeling that way too.
This trailer has a lot of cool faces in it. Donnie Yen's in this. I fucking love Donnie Yen.
I'll always show up for Donnie Yen. Always.
I know. Bill Skarsgård's
Not
in
every
this.
movie that Donnie Yen is in is a good movie, but Donnie Yen is good in every movie that he's in. Is the best.
He's got a juice poos, is what I'm saying. Bill Skarsgård is in this. Of course, our boy Keanu Reeves. Lawrence Fishburne makes a return. Mm-hmm. Of course, he plays a character that's not Morpheus, but everyone feels like he's kind of Morpheus
a
anyway.
Bit, yeah.
This trailer was really cool for me until the end when they were like blocking a bunch of bullets with guns.
Yeah. Wow. I'm glad you said that. I felt the exact same way. I'm like, all right, not that the fucking movie has to be realistic. None of this is realistic, but like blocking bullets with swords. I mean, that's a little too much.
Well, and the thing is,
too far.
I mean, I know they're over the top, ridiculous scenarios, but the combat and the gunplay, while of course elevated to extreme heights, was always impressive because he just looked like he was really, really fucking good at killing people with weapons. And they literally released videos of him running these tactical training courses where he is impressive with a firearm. And so, I'm not saying that they tried to make it grounded, but I would say like the moves that he did and stuff, it was grounded at least a little bit in the reality of someone who's very, very good with firearms and with murdering people.
Yeah.
And just like the combat's cool in this, and of course there's over the top shit, but none of it crossed the line for me until it's him and Donnie Yen, and they're like this, and they've got a sword in one hand, and they're shooting each other, and they're blocking, and I was like, that feels silly.
It was a little too much.
I mean, otherwise the trailer was cool.
I'm still gonna watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch
But
it.
I do have to watch Parabellum first.
Yeah, Paramecium brain.
Paramecium. These are, look, I'm going to tell you another, speaking of things, speaking of like 45 minutes ago, we were talking about Burt Kreischer's movie. His specials are good. They're better when you're drunk. This is the kind of movie that is best watched a little tipsy because you get hype. It's like watching a football game. Like the big fight's coming up. You kind of let out a little whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
The John Wick, Nobody. Those are the, was it Nobody? Yeah, Nobody.
Whoop,
These
whoop.
are the kind of movies. Yeah, you whoop.
Whoop,
In
whoop.
the final showdown.
Currently 14-10 Eagles leading second quarter. Okay. Let's do it. We got main topics.
Let's hit it. What do we have again?
Andor, episode 10, All Quiet on the Western Front, Smile. Obviously, I think we just leave the order the way it is.
Sure.
Because Andor's quick. We've been watching it. We don't usually do episode-to-episode reviews.
Yeah. I'm going first. Stop right there. I'm going first.
Okay. Tell me.
This was the best episode of this show so far. This was a fucking incredible episode. So let me give you the synopsis.
It really was incredible.
It was very good. So the synopsis is, you had said it best when I texted you about it. You said nothing happened you didn't think was going to happen, but it happened in an interesting way. That's concise, straight to the point. I love it.
I should tweet it.
You knew a prison break was going to happen. And like all this shit was expected. I'm blanking on Andy Serkis's character's name. It's like Lynn Toy or something. Yeah,
I'll look it up. You keep talking.
And basically, he finally becomes like radicalized enough by what's happening in the prison that he decides that even though he's kind of a dickhead, he does have this like charisma to him. People listen to him, and he sort of leads this revolt.
Kino
actually,
Loy.
like Kino Loy. So he actually inspires the workers to rise against
random Star Wars theme. I'm so sorry.
It really is. It's very Star Wars. Very true too. So here's what happened. He does this speech over the loudspeaker when him and Cassian overtake the command center. That kind of gets everyone in all the different wings to overtake them. He says, "There's 5,000 of us. There's only this many of them. Whatever." You had sent me before I watched it just a headline to an article that talked about his speech.
Yeah.
And I secretly was mad at you because I was like, why would you like prompt me?
I'm sorry.
That there was, well, it's okay. It's a happy ending.
Okay.
I was like, why would you prompt me that there's a great speech? Now I'm going to wait for the great speech the entire fucking episode.
I'm good at giving happy endings.
And then it's just not going to be as good as it would have if I just experienced it. This fucking speech was so good. It still gave me goosebumps. Like I knew it was coming. I hyped it up in my head because people are writing articles about it, and it was still amazing. It was still incredible. The true gut punch of that, of course, is that Kino Loy inspires this revolt. They get all the way out. They have this unifying chant, one way out, and they get to the top. People are they find that it's just a doorway out into the ocean. People are jumping off to swim to their freedom.
Yeah.
And Kino Loy, who had led them there, for some reason is apprehensive. At which point Cassian asks him, like, what's wrong? What are you doing? And he just says, I can't swim. He kind of laughs. Like there's this smirk where he just realizes the irony that he had the ability to bring thousands of people to a freedom that he can't achieve. He can't do it for this simple, stupid reason. And it's like, I just thought that was brilliant writing because you think about Star Wars and how advanced everything is, and they have speeder bikes and fucking hyperspace travel and all this shit, and just think that some guy can't swim and just putting it at the exact right moment. Dude, that was yet another. We had talked last episode about how when they are slowly throughout the episode piecing together that something fucked up happened on floor 2. And when you find out what it is, you get this like, ooh, like it sort of just hits you like this in a way that like that sharp, bittersweet, like poignancy. Adolf Palpy. It doesn't happen in Star Wars. Well, it happened 2 episodes in a row now. Like that just sucked. And I just started crying. Like I couldn't help it.
That's
and then
nice.
The last, right after that, we have a speech with Luthen. I forget his last name. Luthen. We'll just go with that. Yeah. And some Imperial spy that he has on the inside that's trying to leave. And I will say this. I'm going to let you take the reins on that speech for the most part. Even though like it was an exposition dump, and I hate exposition dumps. Like it was like, this is the motivation of my character. Like that was the whole scene. It was a little overwritten. Like he said some stuff that was a little too poetic, and it sort of took me out of it. Like you're talking to like a co-conspirator, and he's like, I have the memories of ghosts in my head. I was like, people don't talk like that in real life, my man. But his ending when he like summarizes the whole thing by saying like, what have I sacrificed? Everything was just so like such a good delivery. The scene itself was so beautiful. The thing I really liked about it the most was it was shot. There was this tension because you sort of don't know it, and it's emblemized by his speech. I have to use the weapons of my enemy against them. The way it was shot was almost like they were about to draw on each other. Like it's sort of shot from the Imperial officer's hip, like down, like long wind. And then the same thing from Luthen's standpoint. It's sort of over his shoulder. You're like looking down at him. And you kind of have this like, are they about to shoot each other? Like they clearly don't like each other. They don't trust each other. They just view one another as like a necessary evil or whatever, which of course didn't end up happening, but it added to it just had you on the edge of your seat. So like that, the lighting, the set, everything about that was so good that I don't even care that it was an exposition dump. It was a fucking incredible episode. And it just goes to show you that you don't need, like, this show knows when to be subtle, and it knows when to be like bombastic. And the ending to even though you could say the prison break was a more bombastic part, I feel like the more subtle, slow ending was the perfect like closer to this episode that like crests so high. And then they could have ended it there. That would have been a great ending to an episode.
Right.
Like right when Cassian gets knocked off before he can help Kino, like they could have just boom credits, and that would have been like fuck. But instead they just have this scene where nothing exciting is happening, but it just added so much to the episode.
Yeah.
And things like, even though they're the most impressive part is even though things are moving in the right direction, right? Like the rebellion's coming together, the good guys are getting what they want. It feels so sad still.
Oh yeah.
And it's like to be able to have the overall movement like move forward and still have this sense of dread at the same time is like, this is a fucking amazingly written show. I mean, like truly masterful. It's really great. I've been talking for 49 minutes, so I'm going to hand it over.
No, you're fine. And I wanted to let you talk because we gushed last week about it, and we're doing it again this week. And I will keep my thoughts very brief because you said a lot of what I wanted to. And again, that's completely fine. We don't have to repeat or step on each other's toes when it comes to points to make the point that if you're not watching this fucking show, you really are doing yourself a disservice. If you're like a Star Wars fan, even at like a smaller level, like if you watched Rogue One and you liked his character, like go watch this show because, and it does, I think, even for a casual fan. I mean, look, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. I watch almost everything Star Wars that they put out. I read Star Wars books, all kinds of shit. I can name the tails on the back of the Twi'lek's head. They're called Leku. That's the second week in a row I've had to say that word. And even for me, this show is like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not like revealing a bunch of information I didn't know, but it's helping to paint with such a larger spectrum. I guess it's like fleshing out this tapestry that I have in my head of the Star Wars universe and how the Empire came into power. And obviously we know the broad strokes, but we're getting in here on like a macro scale and giving you these character stories that led them to the positions that they were in. And they're at the same time, so like you said, they're so sad because they really are doing a great job of making the Empire feel like the hope crushing dream or dream crushing force that the Empire was supposed to be, that we were always told that it was. And it's one thing to be told that someone's bad, and it's another thing to be forced to bear witness.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's all this show is like bear witness to the Empire's fucked up deeds, bear witness to how someone like Cassian, who is questionable in Rogue One because of the things that he's done in the name of the rebellion. He does, the first time you meet him in Rogue One, he kills that fucking informant.
He kills an informant, yeah.
In the fucking alleyway who is helping him because he was going to give away his position. This is a guy who has learned that if you want to have a set of beliefs that you're willing to die for, you're going to have to do things that don't make you feel comfortable all the time. And he is completely at peace with that in Rogue One. And we're going through this wonderful journey of watching him like get to that spot in his personality where he's taking some risks that I think he would, and others where I'm like, maybe he's not there yet, but he's going to get there with something else wonderful. It's going to happen. It's going to be equal parts sad and triumphant in some way and glorious, I fucking hope. And I'm also rambling, and I hope that I said something meaningful, but please do yourself a favor. Go watch this tremendous show. Andy Serkis is a gem. We all know he's a good actor, and he fucking just crushed it. And the fact that, you know, like you had brought up earlier, it felt predictable that something was going to happen, because it's like he's the reluctant, he didn't want to do the rebellion at first. And then it was almost like his hands were forced because they realized what was happening. And he was like, well, I have nothing to live for anyway. And fuck these guys who brainwashed me into helping them keep these people in line, only to find out that no one's getting out and we're all just going to die in here or some other prison. And then, you could kind of feel it building. You're like, he's reluctant. He's helping. He's totally going to die.
Yeah.
and the moment it happens so quickly, and it's so sad because of it. I think like the quickness is what helps lend itself to how sad it is, because you, as the audience, you realize he can't swim, and he only has like a second to say it to Cassian before Cassian, against his will, is knocked over the edge in the flood of people that Kino inspired.
And that's the true tragedy of it, and what makes it such a good scene, because if they had tacked on this scene where Cassian was like, are you sure I can leave without you? Are you coming?
Yeah.
Like, it would have ruined the entire thing. The fact that before he even had a chance to react, he's literally asking people, what did he say? And then someone knocks into him and just knocks him off. It's done. Oh, dude. Beautiful. I am I am a dirty slut for well-written tragedy. And that was a tragic scene, dude.
I really want to watch something like I wish that we were butt buddies and could watch Andor together, because I would love, we'd be sobbing. I'd be like, did you see that?
It really hit me. It was out of nowhere. It's so sudden. That's what was amazing about it. It's right at the end of this moment where you're like, you see, it follows like an inmate who's like he's the first one to stand up and like listen to him and step onto the hot plate and not get fried. And then it shows him like he's the one leading the charge out. And you're like, there's this fucking sweeping music. You're like, oh my God, this is it. Like they're running out. They're getting out. One way out. It's so like, and then that at the end, like that's the ending. It's just like, fuck, dude, such good writing.
We know the prisons were surrounded by water, but until it happened, it didn't even dawn on me that they were going to have to swim away. I was like, oh, they're going to like find the shuttle bay and
life
kick ships out.
Button.
Yeah. Anyway, please watch Andor. 2 episodes left. Can't wait to see them, depending on what happens. I mean, penultimate episodes are typically where a lot of shit happens.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of shit just happened in that one. So I guess we'll see the tone of the show, the flow of the show, as far as like what episodes have things and what don't, has been different than what I expected. So maybe it'll be more low key. If it is a more low key episode, we'll probably just skip reviewing it and wait until the finale. 100% dependent on the content of that episode, though. If I got to gush again, I'm going to gush, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't want to rush through this one, but I also don't want to cry talking about it. It's a very sad movie, and it's a very, so okay, just to set the stage. All Quiet on the Western Front is a Netflix original, which fucking killed it, by the way. Like, good job, Netflix, for picking this one. I know all you did was open your fucking purse and pay for it, but like, you know, good job getting a good film in your catalog, because this is one of the ones where I would go like, yeah, you should go sign up for Netflix for a month and watch this. This is a German, it's a foreign film. It's a German film about the German soldiers during World War I, and there's a group of friends, and I kind of got like this is going to be like a Band of Brothers thing, and it's really not. They follow these friends who are hype. The propaganda in their country is telling them that, you know, they're going to go to war and come back heroes, and everyone's going to love them. And, you know, they're giddy. They're young boys, testosterone and aggression running through their body. They want to get drunk. They want to fuck. They want to shoot things. And it's this it's this like romantic view of war that someone who's never seen the atrocities of war would have. And it's compounded by the fact, and I watched this movie and initially my immediate cynical thought is, well, that's naive of them. But it's like the early 1900s. It's like 1917, 1915. There's no
internet.
TV,
Yeah.
There's no cell phones. They've probably never seen a dead body unless it was like their grandmother, who died of fucking chicken pox or some shit. I don't know. That stupid story besides the point. These kids have no idea. And the whole movie is literally about watching these boys be forced into turning into men. And really it's the main character that you follow in this. And there's so much of this movie that I absolutely am in love with, even though it's so sad. But the opening montage of the guy charges in war, he dies.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And we follow the fucking jacket where they take the shoes and the pants and coat and the clothes off of the dead bodies, and they send it back to the factories and they wash it. They take it back to a seamstress and they stitch it. And then they right back to the front line for the new recruits. And the deception that happens right up front when he signs up is like an embodiment of the deception these kids go through the entire movie. It's like, he goes, this one's already for someone you gave, because it still had the dead guy's Heinrich, on the clothes. And the guy goes, it was too big for him. He had to give it back, and he takes it and rips the tag off and drops it. When he drops it, you see he's been doing this all day, and there's tags all over the fucking floor, and it's but a drop in the bucket of the sad shit to come. I want you to take over, because I'm so sad talking about this fucking movie.
I'm happy to. The beginning was, first of all, the movie's beautifully shot. Like, that has to get out of the way. Clearly, it takes a page out of 1917's book, which is fine. It didn't like plagiarize anything. It had a spirit of its own.
Yeah.
But clearly, like, the imagery, the grim imagery, or grimmagery, if you wanted to save time, of 1917 inspired this. Of course, the real life world war that actually happened also inspired this.
Right. Oh, no shit.
Yeah, no, it happened. It was a real thing. Germany's a real country to this day, actually.
Franz Ferdinand, right?
Yeah. So, right away, the movie doesn't waste any time. And that's what I love about it. It's not like this slow burn of just like this and that. Before,
and it is a long one.
Yeah. And it starts to make its point right away. You have the kids, like you said, in town before they leave. Everything's bright, colorful. All the buildings are like these bright colors and everybody's cheery. They're in like some kind of military academy where they're like being the guy's literally like, if you die, it's for a great cause. And they're smiling. They're like, we're heroes. And then they get there, and like the first night that they're there, his friend, the one with the glasses, is the first to sort of crack. And like he turns to him and he's like sobbing, and he's like, I don't think I belong here. And that's right before the fucking that's the last thing he says before the whatever they're called, the ditch they're in caves in.
Mortar. Oh yeah. The trenches.
Trenches. And then he finds his body like 10 minutes later in the movie, and it's just like sobbing. He's on like dog tag duty, and he finds his friend.
Can I just, I know I'm probably stealing some of your thunder.
Hit me.
The symmetry between that part and the end of the movie, where he wakes up, he's like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. He goes, then start collecting. And he's the way that, I didn't know this, but I don't think American tags were like this, or if they were, it was just a World War I thing. But the German tags have like two pieces, and it's very quickly apparent that if someone dies, you snap one off so you can collect it, and they can have a record of who it is that died. And
I
his
think
job
Americans
is to
just have two, like it's two separate ones, and you just take one of them. Pretty sure.
And so he's collecting them, and as you said, immediately comes upon his friend and breaks down and starts crying. And that's the first real super sad boy part. And then at the end, spoiler alert. God, it's so sad. The last battle he's in that should not have even fucking happened, because that German, I wanted to fucking murder him through the screen. I forget the general's name, but he pushes them back to a final confrontation even after the armistice is signed and agreed upon. And it's literally, they're just counting the hours until 11 o'clock when the armistice is officially up. And this guy orders one last attack because he's just a born and bred asshole soldier.
Yeah.
And our main character dies in this fight. There's so much beautiful symmetry in this movie of compassion because the way in which he dies is also symmetrical to the guy that he killed in the pit.
Mm-hmm.
But then felt bad about.
That was a rough scene. Yeah.
Oh God, it was so bad. It made me feel like I knew what it felt like to kill somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's that sentence is funny, but I know exactly what you mean. And the fact that they're in this ditch and he can't get out and he just has to sit there with this guy who's dying because he just stabbed him a bunch of times.
Yeah. To save his own life. Like the guy was going to shoot him.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that immediately after, when you're normal human and not your fight or flight instincts, when your normal human instincts return and you realize that you just killed a man.
Yeah.
And the struggle he goes through, he like, at first he panics and he like shoves dirt in his mouth.
Yeah.
To make him shut up. But the guy's just gasping for air and dying slowly. And he starts crying and freaking out and having this really hard time before trying to like make it right. And he comes over and he cuts the guy's jacket open and tells him to put pressure on it. And tries to wipe away the dirt from his face.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is just so fucking tragic, dude. It kills me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard to watch. I actually think that it was harder to watch than 1917, which also did that same thing where it's kind of like, it's sort of beautiful and horrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, I don't know. I don't really know what to add. Like, it's just... It just was really sad. The dude who played Kaczynski, his character, Kaczynski was like the mustache guy.
Yeah.
Who, the one part they were like taking a shit together and he didn't know how to read and he had him read it. And he basically like mentions that he had a son who died, I guess, before the war. Yeah. That dude was an incredible actor. His name is Albrecht Schuch. I don't know if that's the proper way to say it, but that's what it looks like. He was so good that I'm like, I don't know if there's more German shit that makes its way over here. I hope he's in it. He was they were all great actors.
Sorry, German Scheisse.
Scheisse. And here's another fun fact for you.
FF.
Another German topic on the show, Dark. 1940s Egon was in this movie. That cunty general that you were just talking about, his sort of like underling was Egon from...
Yeah, I instantly recognized him. I also recognized, was it Daniel... Brühl, the guy who plays fucking Nemo in Civil War.
Yeah. Oh, he was so good in this. Oh my God.
He was really, it is Daniel Brühl. I was right. He is great in this. And I always knew he was German born. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit. Right. Cause he can speak fluent German. And, his speeches, he's like every minute that we sit here toiling over this is like lives that are lost. And the compassion he had for those soldiers was palpable. And, yeah, I really liked it. Yeah. And I don't have much else to say. It's a very beautiful movie. It's very effective in communicating the devastation of war. And specifically the First World War, where like 17 million people died in this conflict around the world. And it was sort of like the world's first big foray into like machine guns and modern, what you would consider more modern day weaponry, and the destruction at scale I don't think anyone was really prepared for. And the saddest part of the entire movie is the end when they tell you that the Western Front didn't move more than 100 meters at a time in either direction. And it was largely in the exact same place it was at the end of the war that it was in the beginning. And these guys are just hamster wheeling it, and they're throwing kids into a meat grinder. And it's horrible.
But a great movie.
Fantastic, compelling. I would worth the price of admission for a month of Netflix. Hands down, I would gladly tell you to do it. I'll spot you. You want to go watch it?
I won't do that.
Not everybody out there listening. If we, I know it's not going to happen, but in 2 years, if we blow up and we're on episode 325 and people are doing the backlog and they go, hey, Chris, you didn't put an expiration on your offer. And there's 2,000 of us that want a month free of Netflix to watch this movie. I'm not doing it. Okay.
Yeah, you should have been here from the beginning.
Yeah, null and void. Okay.
Yeah,
that's how that works.
It expires on July 22nd, 2024.
No, it doesn't. It expires at midnight tonight, 11/14/2022. I got you, motherfucker. Anyway, moving on. Last movie. This is Smile. And I ended up finishing this movie today on my lunch break at work.
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts are pretty quick. I will summarize them. Much, in my opinion, much better than your average jump scare film, although it relied heavily on jump scares. The plot, dramatic pause, was... I meant to look this up to prepare for this conversation, and I didn't, and I failed miserably, and I'm very sorry. What was the name of the film where the creature was an analogy for, like, domestic abuse?
Oh boy, the one with
the fucking Wendigo, not a Wendigo.
Wendigo. Was that what it was? A Wendigo, but it wasn't the title of the movie, but it was a Wendigo.
Yeah, shit. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it had the chick from Felicity in it.
Wendigo, chick from Antlers.
Antlers, there we go. Okay.
It was called Antlers. And I realized that this reminded me of that insofar as the fact that they used the creature in that movie as an analogy, and they do the same thing here. This is like, they don't ever get into it, which always bugs me because I want to know all the details. Where did this thing come from? What's it called? Mm-hmm. What ritual did you use to summon it? I like those details. I get that not every film's going to do that. That's a OCD thing. That's on me. I get that. This movie, the creature, whatever it is, I'm just going to call it a demon because that's what it felt like. This demonic entity that fed on, it was an analogy for guilt and trauma. Mm-hmm. And it passed from person to person like trauma can, and especially in what happens in this film. And it's just, whenever they do something like that, it immediately, I'm like, oh, this is a little bit smarter than our typical jump scare film where the only point is to just spook the audience for a little bit. Story be damned. Same thing every time. It's a creature in a house. There's a family of kids. Creepy shit happens. Someone might die. They might not. They come out the other side. They learned a lesson. This movie had a lot of that in it, but I liked it a whole lot more. Mm-hmm. I will say that the fiance, A-Train, I did not like him in this. I don't think he did a great job, but I love him in The Boys, but I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a miscast or something. I'm sorry, my guy. Your character was also unlikable, but that's unfortunately because the movie's from the main character's perspective and she was mad at you, and therefore we all have to be mad at you as well. Because in reality, I watched this scene and I'm going, is he really being that much of an asshole right now? Because he's not. She was being psychotic and he called someone to try to intervene and she like freaked out and fucking they broke off their engagement. Whatever. I digress. The point was, I think this movie was better than your average jump scare film. And then my biggest problem, and the reason I'm bringing up Antlers, is that the analogy is great the entire movie, and then they ruin it in the end. It's meaningless in the end because they basically gave us choose your own adventure, and then they showed us all the endings with the way that the film's laid out. So the first ending happens in her head, and she confronts it, and she's like, this is my mind, and she fights back, and then she lights it on fire, signifying, literally lighting her childhood house on fire, is absolving her of the guilt she feels for her mother's suicide, which is the analogy to the trauma demon that she literally just burned alive inside. It could not be more on the nose, but it worked for me. And when she went back to see her ex, who she like apologizes to and realizes, then the bad ending happens where they show you that, oh, she didn't get rid of it and it's still here. And then on top of that, you realize that wasn't true either, because that was in her head and none of that was real. And what really happens is that she just dies anyway to this thing. And he presumably just carries it on. And it ruins the analogy because I thought it would be beautiful if she overcame her trauma. And I know it's cliche, but overcame the trauma, and she, and then she does kill this thing, and like she figures out how to beat it. Because I thought that part of the movie was actually very interesting. It was jump scary, but then I always like when the main character is like, well, what do I do? And she starts investigating like these strings of murders. And I found that whole subplot to be kind of interesting. She's like tracing it back 20 people. She finds the guy. It's the guy who played the gun vendor in the Daredevil show. I always forget his name, but he's really enjoyable as an actor. I love him a lot. And he was great in this. And I'm rambling, and I'm sorry. And then they ruined it in the end because she's just dead. And they did that because maybe it does well enough to make a sequel, and they can't get rid of the monster in the end of the first one. Mm-hmm. So no one gets closure, and all of the movie feels like it was for nothing because there was no growth in this character. She didn't heal in the end. She still has her trauma, her literal trauma. It kills her, and now it's still out there going to kill someone else. So ultimately, I liked it and didn't like the ending. The end.
I thought it was really amazing. I thought it was a really good movie. I really, really liked this movie, and I'm really happy that it exists because we talk a lot of shit on horror on the show, and I think, all right, so there's two like branches of horror. There's like classic horror, and then there's elevated horror. Fucking hate that term, but I say it, and you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Now, it's no secret that even though I hate that term, I do prefer that genre over classic horror. I just think it's better done. I think
you just don't like people reminding you that you're smarmy.
Right. Just call it anything. Alt horror
don't call
is
it
better.
Elevated horror.
Anything.
God,
anything. But I think that like a point that I've made on the show about some of the classic horror movies, like Antlers, for instance, is that you can take that formula and you can make it not suck like the two of the three Halloween movies did. Yeah. And we watch one every now and then, and most of the ones we watch still suck, and this one didn't. And it's not an atypical horror movie at all. It's like it follows the exact diagram of a horror movie. It's like there's a demon out there. You kind of start to figure out what this demon's doing. At first, you try to enlist the help of your friends. Your friends all think you're nuts, and then you decide to take it on by yourself. Like, it's the exact formula they always use, but they just did it in a great way. I think that what this movie does better than others do is building just a sense of not dread, but anxiety. Like, even in the scenes where it's not like turn around, like those are the obvious ones, but even just like when she's driving, the music isn't really music. It's just disconcerting, like sounds, like clicks and like twists and rumbles and cracks where you just like, it kind of sounds the way anxiety feels. And so like when these scenes happen, things are mostly silent. And then you're like, fuck, like something's coming. Like it's not supposed to be quiet. The whole movie has this eerie feeling. And now the eeriest thing is that the eerie atmosphere is gone. I thought some of the jump scares, I think every jump scare ever is cheap, but some of them can be like enjoyable. I think some of them kind of sucked. Like some were really, really good and others sucked. The car one with the head still got me. I've watched it in the trailer like 4 times and it still got me. Yeah. For whatever reason, the first time her like mom demon showed up, I was like, this is so corny. But when she left and then came back, left in her head and then came back, that time scared the shit out of me when she like pulls her jaw down and like shoves her head inside. I think the thing I really liked about it is there was, like you said, a subtext for trauma and how it affects us and how people tend to not try to understand how it affects us. I feel like it didn't make a point that it was beating you over the head with. Like it wasn't something it was like chastising you like you're a school child about trauma. It was just like, hey, we have like a side message that we're trying to say, and if you ignore it, the movie's still good, but if you want to pay attention to it, it's there. I love that. I think that's great. I think when your movie entirely, or whatever, book, show, whatever, it adheres entirely to your analogy, to the point where with like the core story stops making sense in order to like adhere to that analogy, that's just shitty writing. I always think the analogy should be secondary, and I think it was here. It just said people go through traumatic stuff. And
so you're saying you liked Antlers then?
No, I am not saying that.
Because do you remember how mad we were when we were like, the analogy made sense until the end, when she basically said, murder the bad person's parents and take the kid, and that's how you're supposed to deal with it.
I don't think this one didn't make sense. I did I say that right? I don't think that this one didn't make sense. Like I was fine with it throughout. The point you made was great. I just saw it a different way. I just saw it as like that's what it does. You pass it on to other people. Like people can get so consumed by trauma that they never overcome it. The therapist even says it earlier in the film. Sometimes the wound never heals. You just learn how to function with it.
And you know what's funny? That actually, while I still stand by what I said originally, looking at it from that perspective, it actually doesn't break the analogy at all, because the moral of trauma is that it can be something that you think that you're over,
but you're not at all.
It sneaks up on you. So in that regard, I guess that makes 100% sense. And I still don't know if I like. Again, it felt like pick your own adventure endings, where it was like, here's the good one, here's the bad one, and then it's over.
So I have I have a genuine fear of the trope of I thought I got away, but I didn't. I'm not even kidding. I've had night terrors since I was a kid, and one of my like recurring nightmares is that I'm like being pursued by someone.
Yeah,
and I think I've gotten away. But then I get in my car and they're in the car or something like that's. So the fact like that
shit out of me.
Yeah.
I knew that she was back there.
Because we're talking about Smile.
Oh, don't do that. It was terrifying.
So that didn't bother me. Like that, like just scared me. I want to say I knew that that's what was going on, but I probably didn't. But I think like throughout the movie, you see people who, whenever she opens up, she's like, this is what happened to me. Someone always says, you're fucking crazy. Or even like in a more gentle way, like you're unhinged, I think is what A-Train says to her. He has a name. I shouldn't call him A-Train, but.
No, call him A-Train.
Yeah. you sound unhinged or something like that. And it's like crazy shit can happen to people. And then it's like you talk about it. You finally get the strength to talk about it. And people just go, whoa. And I think that was more than saying like this is like creating a guideline, like a map to what happens with trauma. I think it was just saying like, doesn't it suck that you can go through something terrible and like people just peel back when you talk about it? I think that was really all it was saying. I don't think it was like as in depth as like you think you got away from it, but then it comes back. I think it was just making that very simple statement. So I didn't mind the ending. I actually rather liked it. And it was a very eerie scene when she was like doing the Kubrick stare and the smile and like lit the match. And you just see, I love that you didn't even see her burn. You just see the look of horror on that guy's face.
You see it in his pupils. You see her light up. But it was very cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you liked it too, because I was worried that I was gonna come into this and like vomit my opinion and say like I liked it like much more than a standard like jump scare film, and we read that it was getting pretty good reviews, and I was happy to see that it basically lived up to those for me.
Yeah.
And then I was waiting for you to go, I hated it, and you didn't.
Nope, I thought it was very good.
And you kept a straight face the whole time I was talking. I couldn't read you at all. I was like, I can't tell if this is going to be a big agree or like I hate your opinion on this film and you now more as a person for it.
I respect you less.
Oh, okay. That's going to wrap it up. Next week, we are going to potentially do Andor. Depends on what it is. We have The Woman King, which we can watch. It's an option. I do want to watch that. So the Viola Davis. Spirited Away, I'm going to watch. We'll do the Grogu thing.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if anything else comes out this week. We'll
1899. Boom. We're definitely talking about that.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
Let me write that down. Thursday, I think.
Well, if that comes out Thursday, then we're going to not do Woman King this week.
Okay. Pretty sure it's the 17th.
Pretty sure. I think you are correct. We'll find out when we get there. We'll do the needful.
We'll do the thing.
Where can everybody find you at?
Twitch and Twitter at
yeah.
Dr. Gloom MD, which is DRG LOOMMD. Let me do that slower.
Okay.
DRG LOOMMD.
Yeah. M is in Mancy.
M is in mnemonic.
Oh,
D is in gent.
Oh no. Do the whole thing. Now you gotta finish it. Okay, you can find me. I was literally gonna try and do like an R, and my brain just went Riders of Rohan because I know you're a Lord of the Rings fan.
Thank you.
Which is great, but fucks up the entire idea you were going for.
Right.
Of false first letters.
Yeah.
Knife. Anyway, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at TCN Plays. That's KN.
That's T as in pterodactyl.
Yeah.
See,
what a good one. Pterodactyl. Okay. At TCN Plays. This Saturday, we will not be live for Cynical Nerd. Sorry, the Cynical Stream Part 4. It is his fault. He's moving. He's going to give out his name and address on Twitter for everybody to come help him publicly. I still have to upload Part 3. I actually have I had a kind of a busy weekend, so I have the files ready. I'm probably going to mix them before I put the VOD up.
I was just looking at your sausages. That's all. I was just eyeing them up.
Oh, hot. You're looking at your partner's sausages.
Yeah.
Multiple. There's more than one over there.
There's a couple.
So we're not going to have Cynical Stream this Saturday, but there's going to be Part 3 if you want to go watch it. We'll be back, hopefully, on Monday. I think you said you were pretty sure you should be settled. Should be
good by then. I know for sure we're getting none of this matters live, but I'm almost certain that we're going to have internet like the day that we move in. So I can't imagine why we wouldn't.
You have to. It's it's what year is it? It's 2022. You need internet.
It used to be.
Right. And you're going to have a new background for everybody to stare at. I like that. I'm excited.
It's true. I'm going to have dildos and stuff.
just make
everyone uncomfortable. I'm gonna move them around every week too, so you have to find it. It's like, where's Waldo with sex toys?
And I imagine you have them planted like all the animal heads in Ace Ventura 2, and then you have like an 8-foot ladder, and we do like tic-tac-toe, and you put the ladder in a random spot under a different dildo each week, and that's the one you climb up and fuck your little butt with it.
Exactly. Just everything that you just said. That's what I do.
All right, cool. We'll see you guys next week.
See you then.
Goodbye.
Bye.